Okay, now Nigeria is flying the flag of the African Union in this peacekeeping operation. Now, would you see the hostility of Sudan to Nigeria alone, or to the African Union as a whole?
No, I don't think it is directed at Nigeria. I think it is just that they see a foreign body
in their country,
either meddling or trying to do something which they may or may not like.
But over the years, has Nigeria not established a relationship based on trust?
No. The issue is this. It is not Nigeria sending its troops into Sudan.
It is the AU.
It is under an AU mandate, which later became UN-AU mission. Nigeria cannot operate outside what the agreement or the charter says. Yes, we have our people, some are being killed, but at the same time, I feel we have to also handle it bilaterally.
Exactly. Prof, I was going to ask you that. Like Ambassador just said, you know, it's our right as well to protect our citizens out there in Sudan.
Yeah.
You know, we're offering help to this country, yet sometimes we're faced with hostilities that you may describe as not necessary.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this question again. Where should Nigeria stand?
Thank you very much. I want to maybe differ a bit from the analysis of the ambassador in terms of our benefit. Yes, we have been helping African countries to restore peace out of nothing. But time has come that there should be a new thinking in our foreign policy, that we should find a way of defining our interests. What do we stand to gain, whether in Sudan, whether in Chad, whether in Niger, in any African country? So that we don't just go there in the name of being an African, so we risk resources, we risk human lives, at the end of the day, at the expense of taxpayers' money in Nigeria, and we get nothing in return. So let it be clear that we need a new thinking in our foreign policy, that the economic objectives of the Nigerian state should be matched with our own foreign policy. And regarding the treatment of Nigerians, Nigeria is the only country where her citizens are killed, imprisoned, maltreated abroad, and nothing happens. It is very important that we realize or recognize the importance of Nigerians in the diaspora. The Nigerian government should be citizen-centered in the sense that you protect the interests of your country.
Okay, Eke, I bring this to you. Now, we talk about protection of the people. Now, what about protection for the defender? You know, it's one thing to go there and say, okay, do not shoot these people because you're meant to be protecting them, but still you're being killed, you know, for trying to make peace reign. So what is the boundary between the defender and the attacker?
Well, first of all, peacekeeping and enforcement are two different things. But before we deviate too much,
yes,
because if we deviate too much, we risk sounding a little bit egocentric.
Okay.
The mission that calls for Nigeria or other United Nations countries to be there is because there's problem in South Sudan. What do we do to defend ourselves will largely depend on what we do to restore peace there. First, we must find a way to help them with disarmament. It's extremely important. We must help to make sure that the logistics that is making the peacekeeping difficult is there. We can help them through this transition of institutional building, making sure that the judiciary is efficient, investment in human capital development through education, helping them with empowerment. Because once that is done, you will have a relatively stable nation, and then what you asked will not come into play. Any day, anytime, I've said it even at the risk of repetition, I'll say one more time, that what Ambassador is saying about Nigerian foreign policy represents yesterday. Today, make no mistake about it, foreign policy must be dictated by core national economic interest. That core national economic may include making sure that the security of that region is such that the problem they have there do not have an immigration consequence or implication on us. It is still core national economic interest. Foreign policies must be defined in the 21st century by a quid pro quo. Nigeria spends so much money in South Africa. I remind the Ambassador, the way Nigerians are treated in South Africa is not at all. A time will come when even women begin to ask for visa to even go to Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the rest of them.
All countries that Nigeria...
All the countries that Nigeria has done a lot for. I will not any day say that it is not in the interest of Nigeria to continue to step in those regions. Okay. But I believe what we're saying that it must be juxtapositions with core national economic interests as to what we stand to gain. It may not be necessarily monetary, it may be influence. All right. It may be advancement. It's a lot of stuff. So in Sudan, I do not want us to deviate too much. For me, my concern is the atrocities that is going on there, the level of crisis that is going on there. There must be a way to bring it to a stop. So what are the challenges and what are the solutions? Must be what the policymakers must help them. Then when we restore a stable country, then we'll talk about formulating a foreign policy that must be in alignment with the 21st century thinking.
Ambassador, I'm going to come back to you. Now, recently, the Chief of Army Staff was denied visa to go to Sudan, following what doctors just said. Other top military technicians were also denied visa to go to Sudan. Now, Nigeria is faced with this kind of situation. How and what is the best way to handle it?
Now, Nigeria did not wake up one morning and sent its soldiers to Sudan. They went there under an agreement. And that agreement was not with the government of Sudan. It was with the AU. It was an agreement between the AU and the government of Sudan. Only some countries contributed their troops. Therefore, whatever happens inside Sudan, it is something between the AU and the government of Sudan. No, Nigeria only contributed. Okay. So Nigeria cannot be part of the multilateral organization of either AU or UN taking part in Sudan and now bilaterally dealing with Sudan. No. Regarding the visa issue, we have to understand one clear thing. If you are sending whether technicians or whatever for this mission in Darfur, the application should be filed by either the UN or the AU. If you apply on a bilateral basis, but your mission is on a multilateral issue, the government of Sudan, in my view, can say no. So
so you're saying that right now the Sudanese government have the right?
Yes. Did what the application filed directly with the Sudanese embassy in Abuja, or it was filed by the African Union in Addis Ababa?
But they seems to differ.
Excuse me, His Excellency. The methodology of application is absolutely relevant. The question to ask, what constitutes A, the necessity for the application in the first place?
Yeah.
I find it so strange and ironic that a help being requested for the benefit of the person, and then you are denying the access of those whom you've asked to help. The point I agree with him is, yes, Nigeria, along with other AU and UN, must continue to step up to help nations that are in distress or where security situations arise. But if you therefore deny, be it technical, be it military, be it economic, people to come, then the question becomes, why are you denying people that are coming to help you? Which means there's an ulterior motive right there. So what I'm saying, and I'll continue to say this, we are all in agreement that Nigeria must not deviate from her core duties and responsibilities. But I think where I continuously and absolutely disagree with His Excellency is that in the 21st century, the foreign policy of nations must be dictated by core national economic interests. Period. And the policies must be crystal clear. Where there exists impediment to peacekeeping, it must change to enforcement.
So you're saying that Nigerians should put conditions?
Therefore, what do we do? We must therefore clearly agree with our partners, since this is a joint AU and UN mission, and give Nigerian condition for giving the lives of our great sons and daughters in the line of duty. That is part of articulating foreign policy. Before you send out a Nigerian soul, and Nigerian blood is precious, make no mistake about it. We must define conditions under which we will allow our young men and women to be in harm's way. And those are the issues as our policymakers must come back to define what is a clear rules of engagement, and see if that clear rules of engagement is in tandem with that of the AU. And where it is not, we will now give conditions under which we will participate. But I continue to say that we must not, in the face of these difficulties, shy away, because there are duties and responsibilities of greatness. Nigeria is a great African nation. Despite the way, in their short-sightedness, they are treating us, let wisdom predict that Nigeria, because we are great, will continue to overlook that.
Mama Collins is calling from Abuja. Good morning.
Good morning. So there is need for a total overhaul of our foreign policy, and we need to begin to stamp our feet on our ground and be sure that wherever we have a bilateral relationship with a country, our citizens must be respected. Otherwise, we quit. I don't see the need to finance all foreign operations, and at the end of the day, our people go there to suffer. It is appalling. The government should do something about it. That's my opinion. Thank you.
You've heard the views quite differ from what you've said. None. Shouldn't there be conditions put on the Nigerian peacekeeping before they even ensue on that journey, so that they can know what they are faced with?
I agree that we have a responsibility towards our citizens wherever they are in the world, including the peacekeepers. But we cannot say because our troops are there, we can now take certain actions that are outside the agreement reached with the government of Sudan, because there are so many countries involved.
All right, Ambassador, I'm afraid we'll have to cut you here. Maybe we'll come back.
All right, that is all we can take on the interview today. Of course, we've been joined by Ambassador Suleiman Dahiru, OFR, and former Nigerian ambassador to Sudan, and of course Professor Saleh Dauda, Department of Political Sciences and International Relations, University of Abuja, and of course Dr. Eke Agbai, Executive Director, Center for Policy and Foreign Engagement. Thank you, sirs, for joining us this morning.